It's called Engineering Day. It's celebrated globally, and here in Ogun State, Abeokuta, the state capital especially, the day will also be celebrated. Members of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Abeokuta branch, will be celebrating the day. But of course, that day also falls within their week-long celebration of engineering. We want to look at engineering and society. What is the relevance of engineering? Can society exist without engineering, or can engineering exist without society? That's why we have our two guests in the studio from the Nigerian Society of Engineering in Ogun State, Abeokuta branch actually, in the studio this morning. On my immediate right is Engineer Kolawole or Lonode. He's the chairman, Nigerian Society of Engineers, Abeokuta branch. Good morning, Engineer.
Good morning, viewers.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
We also have his the vice chairman of the same society, Engineer Ismail Adenuga. Engineer Adenuga, good morning.
Good morning, viewers.
Thank you so much for also joining us.
Pleasure joining you.
Yeah. Lawyers, doctors, they always pride themselves on what their profession can do. Lawyers will say, oh, they are the best. You know, doctors will also say they're the best. Engineers also say they are the best. Why will engineers lay such a claim?
Anyway, it's not a claim per se, but it's obvious that when we talk of engineers and scientists, they are the future of the world. They started the world, and they are also the future of the world. Because, like we always say, that just imagine the water in the sea. This water in the sea cannot get into your house as a drinking water. It has to pass through networks of pipes. It has to be treated. All of these efforts are done by engineers. And then, because engineers also use the principles of science, so scientists are also very important in this, what you consider as societal service, or social service. What we do as engineers always speaks for us. For us, not everybody uses the products of engineering and scientific discovery. Yes, engineering, as it is being defined, is utilization, converting raw materials to beneficial use of humankind through the use of mathematics and scientific principles. So these are the things that we do. Like we always say, that like our viewers are having opportunity to listen to us this morning, stay with us, but you can listen to us, you can view us. All of these are done, all of these are possible because of the engineering gadget that is being used here. We can talk to our colleagues from thousands of miles away. We make use of scientific discovery of using the airwaves, and we manipulate it using scientific approaches, and then we are able to convert it to things that are very, very beneficial. So these are things that we do. However, because our job is so much important, that any failure in any engineering project is not only the engineers that is consumed. A lot of lives also goes into it. But if a case is lost in the court, the lawyer will still say, we appeal. If it gets to the end of the day, they will say, okay, the decision of my Lord is very supreme. Nobody, anyway, maybe any person will go to jail as a result of maybe it's a failure in defending the case. Yes, a doctor, for one reason or the other, their doctors are very important, lawyers are very important, we are not undermining. When a doctor comes out of theater, you say, sorry, I lose that patient. There is nothing anybody can do. That doesn't mean that you not go back again and contract him or to consult him. But engineers cannot afford to make mistakes because any mistake made by an engineer can consume a lot of lives and properties. Just imagine a Ikere Gorge where we have pools of water that has been retained. It is known that if there is a failure in that gorge, the water that will be coming is enough to consume the whole of Oyo State and the whole of Lagos State and Ogun State all together.
That's true. That's true.
So if you have such, you can see what engineers are doing to maintain that water to be at that end. But not everybody can say this. Just to really tell you that engineers are the future of any society.
Okay. Now you also said engineers actually started the world. I got interested in that.
Yes, engineers started the world. Yes, even we can say God is an engineer because he created everything. The scientists also came in and probed further. They discovered a lot of principles, a lot of rules, a lot of hypotheses. The engineers now picked all these hypotheses, like Archimedes principles of flotation, for instance. It is from these principles that engineers were able to know that they can build ship on water without sinking. So these are things, though, yes, in the era they were able to move, but they consider it as miracle. But today engineers say it is not miracle. It is what human being can do by virtue of application of scientific principle.
An engineer.
He was, yes, we know to be an engineer, but he didn't.
Perhaps
he
had
used
spiritual
to,
backing. They had spiritual backing.
yes, spiritual backing because he was being guided.
Maybe
and that principle was what he studied, which we now convert to engineering principles that will be able to give explanation to anything that.
Maybe sometime in the future, engineers will come and say that walking on the water is also not a miracle. It can actually be done or achieved.
Why not?
Anybody.
It is. Yeah, why not? Because by the time, discovery continues. Scientists are working, engineers are working, it's changing fast.
Well, in order not to confuse our viewers, before we actually started the discussion segment of the program, we told you that we'll be discussing abduction, the spate of abduction in Nigeria, but we had to actually swap topics this morning due to some challenges, and that's why we see engineers in the studio, and they are not the ones that we actually promoted. But we're still going to discuss that topic. Just keep watching the program. But for now, we're still talking engineering and society. Now, Engineer Adenuga, what would you say, or how would you say Nigeria has fared over the years, in the world of engineering? Have we measured up to our potentials, or we're still crawling?
Thank you very much. I would say Nigeria has measured up to their potentials because the major problem we have in Nigeria, for instance, is we have talent, but the atmosphere in which most of the engineers find themselves, that is the atmosphere that is not that comfortable for them. You can see if Nigerian engineers travel abroad, you can see how they thrive. It's not that they are dullard, it's not that they are not good. They are very brilliant. They can transform a lot of things. But if they have the atmosphere to discharge their duties accordingly, they are going to thrive. That was why I would say Nigerian engineers are being feared in whatever they can do. There was this problem some years back. A Nigerian engineer, a graduate of Nigerian institution, that solved a global problem on internet, on IT. And it was interviewed on CNN as well. We have a lot of engineers that are making waves outside the country like that, outside the country. But presently in this country, the support is not that there. And even you have that support, you see a lot of engineers changing things. And look at those Chinese that came to Nigeria. Whenever they came, they come with their expatriates because they own the money. It's not that what they are doing, Nigerian engineers cannot do it. They can do far, far more better. So in this we are appealing to the government to assist and prepare an open ground, a soft ground for the Nigerian engineers so that they will be able to thrive in whatever they are doing.
Is it the school? Is it the problem of the schools, the universities, colleges for engineering? Is it because they are not? Because I must confess to you, Nigerians don't believe in Nigerian engineers, And so when they see a bridge being constructed by Nigerian engineers, they have suspicion about it. But when they see foreigners, doing the same projects, they have belief. So why that? Is it because of the factor that you mentioned? Or?
No, it's not institutions. They are very sound. most of them that lectures in the university, they've traveled out, they've seen a lot of things. And whenever they travel out, they learn, and whatever they learn, they come back and impact those knowledge in their students.
I think the point I'm trying to make is this. Look at the world of computer is an aspect of engineering. Some people will go to school, study computer science, and they will not set their eyes on the computer system itself. And they will say they are computer science graduates.
I know, I don't want to agree with that. Because there's no way.
In those years.
In those years.
We've seen that. In those years.
It's not like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's also happened like that too.
But presently it's not like that.
Yeah.
Whenever you
Study computer, you study this. You are going to do practical. That's the essence of having
practical during the course of your study. Whenever you study, if you study engineering, for instance, now when you are in part 4, you go for a study, you look for an engineering firm to better the knowledge, the theoretical knowledge that you have learned in the school, so to translate it into practical use. So even in the school, you are still going to do some practicals. There are some practicals you do while you are in part 2, part 3, and the likes. You'll be doing those in school. You might be asked to, for instance, a computer engineer, you might be asked to go and develop a software, or go and look at this laptop. How is it good? What are the things you can do to improve on it? Those are the things in Nigeria you learn. That is why you see students, you see kids these days. You see them developing, and we have students that have developed some tractors. You see them on Facebook and social media. It was because of the knowledge, things they have been watching, or maybe they have been watching or learned from their teachers in school. So they are now translating that knowledge into practical use. But what we really need is not the school that is the problem, but we need an open ground, a ground that will, a support, government support, that will give room for those engineers to grow.
Now, the number of, okay, you want to add?
Yeah, maybe I agree. I can just chip in a little. You know, I think it's a problem of value system in Nigeria. Nigerians don't believe in Nigeria. You will see our cobblers, they will produce shoe and they will write made in China in it. But it is produced here because of the mentality of our people. They don't believe in ourselves. And this is where the National Orientation Agency and the media has to come in. That we try as much as possible to believe in ourselves. All these Asian tigers, Malaysia, Singapore, and many other countries before. But because they believe in themselves, okay, whatever you are producing, continue to use it. As we produce, we continue to develop. Because if you fail, now let's say we are crawling. If you fail to crawl and we have failed to be supported, there is no way we can work. I think Nigerians need to believe in Nigeria as a country. So that is why, and the government needs to do that and support that.
Now, are you satisfied really with the number of people who go for engineering courses? And then, what does it really require, or what does it take to be an engineer? Do you have to be a superhuman to be an engineer?
Well, you don't have to be a superhuman. For you to be an engineer, firstly, you must be a science student. You must have that basic knowledge of mathematics and physics especially. Those two. If you have those knowledge, you translate those knowledge into engineering. Because engineering is physically based on mathematics, calculations. How can you translate what the scientists have done? How can you translate it into modify it to be beneficial to the society?
And a lot of kids say that's very difficult. The mathematics actually puts a lot of people off. Yeah.
It depends. That is why it depends on the interest has to be there right from primary school, right from there. That's why the parents has to come in. So if you see, take for instance, if you have a student, one of your children, okay, this guy is lacking in mathematics. How can you help him in case you want him to study engineering, or if he decides to study engineering in the next week? The parent can also assist the children by getting him into a private lesson. If he has chance, he can be taking him those studies like I do. I do take my children mathematics, further maths. I do encourage them. So if you now decide, he or she now decide to study engineering in the future, there's no problem. And if he or she did not, there is no crime in that.
Now, generally, will you say you are pleased with the number of people who take up careers in like engineering?
Number of people that take up careers in engineering, we are not that there. That was why we still need a level playing ground for the engineers. Because, like he has said, if there is that support, if we believe in ourselves, that okay, Nigerian goods, like all the shoes I normally wear, are made in Nigeria. The cobblers do make the shoes for me. So if we believe in whatever we produce, we definitely try. Presently, we don't have enough engineers, but because of the situation we find ourselves, so.
Now, don't you think that there should be need for engineers to build the trust for people to now begin to believe in you? Because if you are not building the trust,
engineers have been doing that. Take for instance in Abeokuta branch, we normally, when we started this engineering week, we go to school to educate the children. We select some schools, we visit those schools, we do career talks to them. Why they should take engineering as their field of joy when they graduated. And after that, we've been inviting them to our program as well. This will be the 7th edition of the engineering in Abeokuta. And we've been inviting most secondary schools to our branch for either quiz competition or to come and do a debate live, so that we convince them that, let me choose an engineer as my own career. So that is what we've been, and it's being done by the national body as well. So like the Association of Professional Women Engineers, they are having a quiz competition for the engineers presently. They will do it zonal and it will be done nationally as well, so as to encourage the younger people, both male and female, to study engineering.
Engineering, if mathematics is actually compulsory, deep knowledge of mathematics to actually is compulsory to go into engineering and all of that. What about those who are poor in mathematics and they ended up dropping out of schools and they ended up becoming artisans, like we have mechanic villages and all of that? What is society doing to help them? Because if you go to the mechanic village, you'll be amazed at the miracles that you do on our cars and all of that. And on some fabrications and all of that. Is there any place for them in your thoughts?
Yes, there is. Like we said, mathematics is just a mere phobia that people have for the mathematics. That is what is really driving them away. Even despite the fact that we are saying that mathematics is a core in engineering, yes, it is, but it is not only limited. You also need to science, chemistry, physics, and some level of biology. So now let me come back to what you have asked. For those people that dropped out, perhaps it's not because they didn't know mathematics, perhaps it's not because they didn't have opportunity to understand mathematics and gain admission. Many of these people, they are brilliant on themselves, they are endowed, they are talented. Perhaps because of the family background, or because of one thing or the environment, whatever, made them to drop out from school. Now, as artisans, as engineers, in engineering, we are a family. We are a family, we have members, we have 4 members within the family. We have engineer who is the head of that family. We have the technologists, we have the technicians, and then we have the craftsmen who we call artisans. All of these are members of engineering, because we can't do engineering per se without taking all these people along. And each one of them has a role to play in engineering projects. For instance, now let's say for a building project. A civil engineer will design the structure, what amount of iron that you need to put, what size, what arrangement, where do you put them. All of this will have been done in the office and put in form of paper, in terms of drawing. It is not the engineer that will come to the site and start binding wires together or binding steels together. That is not his job. But people believe that engineers should be doing that. No. Another member of the family of engineering is supposed to be doing that. So because they are so much interwoven, for those people in the artisan, like in Abeokuta branch, we always organize a program, we do a workshop to talk to them. Even presently, we want to support them to further the education on the things they know. Because they know a lot of things. But the only thing is that perhaps they may not be able to know the scientific principle behind what they do. Like somebody who is doing brake, a brake master, for instance, it has to do with the knowledge of hydraulics. He knows how it works, but the principles in terms of science and everything, perhaps he may not know. But he needs the guidance from an engineer to say, okay, do it this way, and then that is done. So it's a shame. It's a cycle of members of a family. You can't cut one from the other. So that is why we are so much independent, we're so much interdependent on ourselves.
All right, your celebration, week celebration, how's it going, and what's left for you to be done to do?
Yes, tomorrow we are going to have a quiz competitions among selected secondary schools. About 15 schools in Abeokuta. 10 are from public schools, 5 from private schools. We'll be having quiz competition tomorrow. And then today, after this program, we will go to juvenile home to do part of our corporate social responsibility to support the establishment there to the students and talk to them. So they need to be well behaved. And then woo them to engineering, to come and read engineering too. Then on Wednesday, that will be on the 3rd of March, then we are going to have a division day. Because in engineering, we have different disciplines in engineering. We have mechanical, civil, we have electrical. So that day, that is when we are going to do thorough technical discussion. What we intend to extract is infrastructure in the state, in respect of power, in terms of these are the things we are going to do. And we hope at the end of the day we make our communique and then make our submission to the government by assisting the government on the next thing to do, so that at least in terms of infrastructure we'll be able to support the citizens. Then also on Thursday, that is the day, World Engineering Day. Like just the question one of the you asked the other time concerning the what effort are we making to promote and then trust in people, and that is one of the reasons why a day is declared. Engineering has been practiced long and no day has been declared, but because they now realize that they know that engineering is required, engineering and science is required to meet the sustainable development goal that has been set. About 75% of that gain require the engineering input. And they need more engineers to do this. That is why they have option than to declare a day, to sensitize people, to mobilize people, to give people the reasons why engineering is key for our future. So for this year, is engineering for healthy planet. That is the theme for this year. And then on Friday, there will be a novelty march between Nigeria Set of Engineers and ANA, the Accounting Association. Then on Saturday, which is going to be the grand finale, we have our new members of them, and then investigation of the new chairman, my humble self, as the official coming in as a chairman of Nigeria Set of Engineers Abeokuta branch, and then inauguration of executives of 2021 executive members will also be done. So that is the whole of the programs that we have for this week.
Okay, as we are closing, Engineer Ismail Adenuga, tell us this NSC Abeokuta branch. What's your strength? And just like the chairman has said, I just wanted to actually add some muscles to what he has said. The strength of your body and what you are also likely to do to actually become more open to the public so that they can actually come in.
Thank you very much. Abeokuta branch is one of the vibrant branch of the Nigerian Society of Engineers throughout the nation. We all know that the first meeting started in Abeokuta of the Nigerian Society. The first meeting was held in Abeokuta here. So, and presently we have over 300 members. Financially capable member, we have over 300. And we've been encouraging our people we've been sensitizing our people, those in the civil service, those in the public service as well. We normally do industrial visits. Whenever we do that industrial visit to some of these companies, we talk to the engineers, we encourage them to be coming to the meeting so that our numbers can be increasing. So that we can have more engineering that will be